Hey, welcome to Dynamics Accounting, Finance, and Tips. My name is Jolie, and today we're going to be talking about accounts payable and some tips around entering vendor invoices. Now, these are non-PO or non-purchase order related invoices. These are invoices related specifically for utilities or rent, or if your company uses statements. I'm going to give you a few tips that might help you get those invoices entered pretty quickly. Let's get started. So under your modules, accounts payable, when you go to invoice journal, one of the things I want to point out is when you enter a new invoice journal, your session date is very important. So we'll talk about some functionality up here, but right now let's just go to lines. And the date, this is what Microsoft uses for posting to the ledger. So if you need costs posted, so I come into work on August 1st and I'm entering vendor invoices and I have 30 that are for July that I need to get entered. Well, I don't want to change the date on each one of these. I'd rather just change my session date to 7/31 automatically. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's get out of this. And our session date are simply right here on the face of the system. So let's go and change the session date to 7/31. And out of the box, let's go ahead and identify that we need all the transactions for these invoices to post on 7/31. So if I go back to lines, it's automatically going to be 7/31 each time I create a new journal. Hopefully that's helpful for you. That's trick number one. So let's delete these lines. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is allocation. So say you have an invoice that you need to allocate to several different business units or several different main accounts. That's really easy to do here when you select your vendor, and I'm tabbing over. I got to select my invoice date and invoice number. And then the description can be typed in or it can be a default from your company configuration. This credit might throw some accounting people off. Typically, you always want to enter a debit first, then a credit. But since this is a vendor invoice journal, Microsoft did the right thing by putting in the credit automatically. And that means your debit is going to be the offset account over here. But because we're allocating this out to two different business units or main accounts, we don't want to use the right side here. So we're just going to delete that offset account. And then from here, enter the down arrow. So if you simply just hit the down arrow, it creates a new line. So you don't have to go up here and select new. So that's tip number 2. And then from here, we want to change the account type to ledger. And then the drop down now. Tip number 3, in the main account, if you want to search for the main account you're looking for, you can just type in office. For this example, I was looking for office supplies. Or if I want to just look for consulting services, I would type in consulting and it would give me the consulting. So that's tip number 3. So let's just do consulting and business units, just grabbing any here. And the invoice date is going to be the same. The invoice number is going to be the same, but here is going to be our debit. So let's just do 750. And now we are still not in balance. So this ledger has, this voucher is not in balance. So again, hit the down arrow. And then here we have ledger. And now we want to just charge this other half to office supplies. I'm just selecting some departments. And same invoice date, same invoice number. Oh, and now we have an imbalanced transaction. We can save this and validate. So you always want to validate or simulate the posting. That way, if there's any errors, you can address it ahead of time before you try to post it, and we're good on this. Operation completed, all good. Now, if you wanted to just in the same journal do a one-to-one relationship, what I mean by that, so now you have a new voucher. It's okay if it's not in numerical order, but if you wanted to, you could put it in numerical order. Well, let's try that again. There you go. Now we can do a one-to-one relationship for, let's select a Texas. I'm in Texas, so let's do a Texas vendor. Here we go. And this vendor's invoice is 7-1. We're going to do test 124 invoice. And we can say 2,000 or 200, I'm sorry, $200. And then we will select, let's do payable. Sorry, I should have something prepared here. Insurance, let's do insurance. Okay, so now we have a complete transaction there. If we were to validate this journal, we get an operation completed that validated as well. And then my final tip is going to be data connector. So if you have a statement and you just want to copy and paste from an Excel document into D365 and publish it back in, this is the tool to do that. I love Excel and I love everything that Data Connector offers. And all you do up here at the top where it says open in Microsoft, you open in Excel, this first one, it says vendor invoice journal. Click on that, download it, and this connects you to this journal. So you open it. Now, one of the things that I noticed about out of the box functionality, and there's always a way to save this template, but one of the things that I always recommend doing, designing this to add in the full account number. If you go up here on the invoice line and hit edit, and the account display value account, and then the offset display value account, and you hit update, I put them at the kind of the back, but you can actually move them up. So the let's see, yeah, we'll kind of make them make a little bit more sense. And what I'm doing is just moving them up by the main accounts. And then I'm just going to refresh and hit yes. I probably went through that too fast, but basically what you've just done is you've added in a column for offset account here and offset account here. So you get the full number, meaning all your financial dimensions. Out of the box doesn't have that, but from here, if you're familiar with Excel, all you have to do here is drag however many invoices and lines you wanted to use. So for our example right now, we're just going to do 2 lines, and I want them both to be 731. The due date voucher, you don't have to populate, but this part you do. So we're just going to use the same the same vendor information. Vendor, we don't have to worry about, it'll pull that in automatically. Oh, I'm sorry, this will actually, we do need here. The invoice number will be different. So now we have invoice 5 and 6. And you can, again, copy from a large statement. And then we'll just do 150 and 250. And I'm just copying what I know we'll need. We'll use the same dimensions for this one. And really nothing else, transaction type, nothing else really needs to be done from that perspective. Let me unhighlight that just so you can see. So all I really did was I said, what fields need to be added in order for this to work? And I know that I need the amount, I need the offset company, the ledger type, the main account. This can be changed. I put the same account, but it can be changed. Now I just want to publish this back into the system. And again, if you have 100 invoices, this is the way to go. And then when I go back into D365 and I hit the soft refresh button up here, Now my invoices are auto-populated. Now it looks like here I needed to bring the invoice date over in design as well, which we can do, or just go in here one by one like I've done here, and then save and validate. Reach out to me if you need more help with Data Connector. It's a functional, famous, wonderful. It makes me happy to share it with people. It is an amazing tool that D365 offers to enter transactional data in a more efficient manner. Those are the tips for today. More tips to come. Thank you for watching. And if you like this video, please subscribe. Thanks.